themselves any favors right now.
No, and I mean they do have this matchup to really prove if they have it in them or not. And I mean, a lot of this is going to be on the back of Palm Goat and Papa Francesco, right? Like these are the players that have been stepping up time and time and time and time and time and time again for the Boomers. And you know, it's really done them justice this season. They've done very well for themselves. They spent a lot of time at the top of the standings, but these, you know, late season surges from Vlad Banos only kind of knocked them off their throne a little bit, whereas Lotus have had the opposite effect, right? Like they've been on a downturn so far. You know, they did bring in Accelerate though, much to Necrox's dismay, but this has been, you know, a little bit of an invigoration. They've done a little bit better with this new top laner, you know, this storied top laner, and the rest of the team, you know, obviously Alistar is that rock on the team, Mr. Kiwiism, keeping us, you know, on the pre-show in good spirits with his rap writing. So, I mean, the team does have little bit of components. I do think they just need to melt them together a little bit better.
All right, well, we are into picks and bans between WYO Boomers and Lotus, and so far you can see that the Thresh, Nidalee, and Galio banned away by WYO Boomers. Meanwhile, Lotus is going to take out the Seraphine, the Hecarim, and the Udyr, so maybe they don't agree about that Udyr Prio, the way we heard from Potato Senpai. Meanwhile, WYO Boomers are going to grab Ashe, the most utilitarian of the 80 carries, and Kai'Sa going to be snagged up by Lotus, the most selfish of 80 carries.
I don't know about most selfish, but
she's up there.
Yeah, all right, I'll give you up there. But no, I actually love the Ashe pick. We saw it last week, and I was very skeptical. But it did extremely well, and it really kind of showcased what the champion can do in the current meta. You know, having that Enchanted Crystal Arrow can be so critical to shutting down some of these more selfish AD carries like the Kai'Sa, like the Vayne, like the Jinx, who just kind of have to stand there for a certain amount of time and really become, you know, useless. And so, you know, Ashe, I think Ashe is a great pick. If it's first pickable, that's my question mark. We'll have to see how it pans out the rest of the draft, though. I think I hit bingo, honestly. I got the Gnar pick, I got the Rel pick, Scorner Cannon picked up as well. I do like Lotus securing that Horde engaged support for themselves.
You know, we look to Accelerate as like one of those players that we expect a lot from, because he's an insanely talented individual. Lotus did not help him here. They gave him the Gnar, and Kanan instantly counterpicked into the Gnar, taking out maybe their best player. I don't know, probably, maybe not the best, but you know, he's definitely one of the more notable players on the roster. That's a tough matchup. Anybody who has ever played Gnar up in the top side knows that into Cannon is one of your most brutal matchups you can ask for. WYO Boomers are also going to take Skarner for themselves, and Lotus are going to go ahead and finish out the first round of picks with the Rel. So the team fight, it's looking very powerful for both of these squads.
Yeah, I do think that WYO right now are having a little bit more of an advantage just off of crowd control, right? Like Enchanted Crystal Arrow into the Impale, follow it up with that Slicing Maelstrom on the backside to keep Kai'Sa out of the fray. I think so far it's looking really great. The second phase bans are coming in. Alistar banned away, great. It does very well into the Rel. It's just overall problematic due to that Unbreakable Will. Just can eat up a ton of pressure and a ton of utility. So get that out of here. Veigar being banned away as well. Pretty strong, especially now that Everfrost buffed once again. We've talked about it previously. He was a very big user of the JLP pre-season patch, and so bring that in. Everfrost buff, it makes sense that Veigar's strong again, plus it's something that Boomers are known for. Elise, Nunu being banned away, they're really targeting the jungle of Lotus. You know, LZ has struggled in the past, and we've talked about it at length. So with Lotus saving that for a Horde last pick, I think they're just trying to make sure that everybody else on the team has something to work with here.
Lock in the Nautilus. Give me bingo. No!
And I also needed Nautilus for bingo.
All right, well, Lotus going to grab Orianna and Braum. So actually, we're just looking at some insanely powerful team fights here. Braum with the Glacial Fissure can be just detrimental for a Kai'Sa or a Gnar or even anybody to walk through and try to get on to your backline. Meanwhile, Orianna with the Shockwave. It's probably, in my opinion, outside of Bard Ultimate, the best ultimate in the game. I just think it gives you so much team fight turning capabilities, especially if it's a heavy AP Orianna, and it just keeps getting better. It keeps getting better. Literally, just Everybody put on your best pair of boxing mitts and get in the ring with one another, because these two teams, they have one plan. Fight. Just fight. Just take these big team fights and fight.
Yeah, this is very explosive. Both teams are really relying on these mid-game team fights to get ahead. I'm looking at these team compositions, and I like bits and pieces from each one, right? Like, I really love
Mhm.
this YO bottom lane. Ash Braum is really great, especially into Kaisa. Rel Braum statistically has been one of the best supports to take into these melee matchups because he can be so brutal and, strong into it. You get the Winter's Bite. You follow that up with the passive procs between your AD carry and yourself. There's not a lot that most tanks can do. Rel does have an escape, but she kind of immobilizes herself in a way, so that can be hard to deal with as the Rel player. But overall, it's great. I'm looking at the jungle matchup, Skarner into a Mumu. I'm leaning towards a Mumu just because it's the AoE crowd
Mm.
control that's hard. And so Amumu does struggle a little bit early, but he's actually not that bad this season. I mean, a lot of the jungle changes have helped him out a lot. He obviously gets a big boost from the current meta itemization, whether he does go chem tank or if he goes frozen fist, I think is still even pretty good because it keeps people really locked into you. I think that that's really strong. And I mean, not Oriana, like those are just intrinsically strong champions that you can do whatever you want with.
It's just really cool to see two teams with like differing styles of team fight, right? Lotus, they're just looking for that big wombo. They want to get that Amumu in there, stun everybody, throw the Rel and the Oriana on top. And you don't even have to do it in that order necessarily. You just want those three ultimates to lock everybody up. And if they all three, you can guarantee everybody on WYO Boomers is going to be sitting at 15% health before the Kaisa and the Gnar get involved. And heaven help you if Gnar ever gets involved. Meanwhile, over on WYO Boomers, they also do want the team fight, but they have something that Lotus really doesn't, which is insane pick potential.
Yeah.
With Skarner, with the Ashe ultimate, they could end these fights before they start. And I think WYO Boomers, that's going to be the strategy that they're really going to need to execute on here, on this game with, because if they just go into the straight 5v5 team fight and they don't kill Lotus immediately, Lotus has the better 5v5.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, their window of opportunity is between level 6 and level 11. That is when they're going to be their deadliest, right? They're going to have, first mythics potentially on pretty much everybody. They're going to have the perfect pick composition going for them as well. But once level 11 start coming in, once you start getting, the upgraded Shockwave, the upgraded Killer Instinct, and you start getting second and third items in, Lotus, like you said, have the scaling. They have the 2-item Kaisa, which we've already seen is disastrous for most teams. Gnar is going to be, a big issue in the top lane because he's going to have that split push threat. Potentially, they can take over games. And Mumu Oriana is so good, right? You just get the bandage tosh, and you can even just a lot of times walk up to them. That is where the chem tank really comes in because of that huge move speed. You just chem take your way into the fight, curse the sad mummy. If it hits anybody, then you follow up with a bandage tosh, then you follow up with a shockwave, and they're probably dead because the tankiest member on WYO Boomers is Skarner, who goes a million miles an hour in either direction.
Yeah, and I think that that's the big problem for Boomers. Even ignoring the split push, well, first off, they do have Kennen, who's going to be a great answer to that split push. And Kennen kind of wants to be doing the same exact thing. What I really dig about Lotus's comp is as long as they're positioning wisely, you don't really want to, even if you do catch someone out like Palm Goat with the enchanted crystal arrow, you still hit them, and you don't want to walk up to them. Like you need to kill them from afar with the Victor and with the Ashe and with the Kennen maybe, because if you walk into them to try to execute on your initial CC, you're just doing the engaging for them. So I'm actually really liking Lotus's composition. I think that they definitely got the better draft.
I think that they do have the pieces. They just got to put them together. We've seen teams before kind of fall apart once we get into game. Lotus, though, they have a pedigree. We've seen them multiple seasons in a row now. They definitely can kick, the game plan up a notch. And I think this is a tried and true draft. I mean, the only champion that's new on this one is Rel, and she's straightforward enough that you can't really mess her up so much. So I will be looking to Kiwiism to be, kind of the rock in that bottom lane. It is going to be a struggle, right? Like you have Palm Goat Ash and you do have Birdman Braum. Like those are good champions. Those are really good champions. They are short range though, which leads to your point. You can't engage because you're going to get counter engaged. And the longest range ability here, I mean, technically is Enchanted Crystal Arrow, right? But I mean, you
Right.
rely on Volley and the Death Laser as like your poke abilities. Once things
Yeah.
like start swing swanging and smashing into each other, they have no range. Like they don't have a Kaelin, they don't have a Tristana, they don't have Syndra or something like that. They have to get down and dirty and hope they come out, alive.
All right, well, we are going to see what plays out, but in the meantime, we're going to throw it to a quick broadcast break. So, in the meantime, stick around, ladies and gentlemen, grab your popcorn and get ready to rock and roll with our casters on this one, Netcrux and DJ. But in the meantime, we will see you guys on the Rift in just a minute.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here to Summoner's Rift between WYO, Boomers, and Lotus as we get ready for our final set of the evening. I couldn't be more excited because I'm back with a lifelong friend, Mr. DJ, on the color, bringing what I expect to be a big brain analysis headed into this draft when, in reality, it's just a big AoE wombo combo coming out from Lotus.
Yeah, it is just a bit of a big AoE wombo combo, but you can look at the Amumu here for a little bit of an interesting start to that wombo combo. He's not someone we see a lot of. It requires accuracy on the skill shot really to get in. There's a couple of clever things you can do with it, but it is in general a clunkier engaged champion than a lot of others. So it will be very important for LZ to pilot this one effectively to get these wombos started. Now on the side of WYO Boomers, you got a little bit more pick potential coming in here with that Skarner up and ready to go. You, of course, do still have the Kennen for team fights. You got the Asher for team fights. Victor is still a great team fighter in an extended team fight, which is what they have with the Braum and the Ash. So I'm very excited to see these two comps interact. But what I am more excited for here, Necrox, and I think something that has not quite been emphasized enough, is these are the two best AD carries in the league. We heard it from Assisted in the week when Orbital played 4 straight games against these two teams. He declared in chat that Alistar put more pressure on him in those games. He declared that Alistar was the best AD carry in the league, despite the stats being in Palm Goat's favor for this season. And now is the time to lay it down. These two teams are fighting for playoff seeding. It's unlikely they're going to catch Glaive and unlikely they're going to catch VBO for those buy slots in 1 and 2, but they will fight for seeding in 3, 4, 5. And this is the time to put up or shut up for these bottom lanes.
And you couldn't ask for a better draft for Alistar this game. You've got the Orianna ball for that support, but everything else is built around this AD carry. You got triple front line and then Orianna to boot. Everything on the plate here for Alistar to be able to carry this Lotus squad. But Palm Goat, he doesn't need a carry. The man does not need damage. All he needs is a couple arrows and a bow, and he will absolutely make quick work of anyone that stands in his way. So, of course, my eyes are constantly looking at these two ADs, looking at the CS, looking at the pressure that's going on. Should go in favor of Palm Goat early on, of course, with a range advantage. The slows will feel much, much better, especially with the Braum to deny a lot of the damage coming through. But really, it's just waiting to see later game team fights. But I want to quickly go over everything. Looks about normal here for these two teams. We get Electrocute on the Kennen instead of the Spellbook. That's fine. That's nothing too abnormal. Cleanse for Alistar as well, just to make sure that if Skarner gets that stone, or if that Ash Arrow connects, or the Slicing Maelstrom finds its mark, he has a quick escape route.
Yeah, I think the cleanse is very necessary in this lane. It's something that I typically take into Ashe kind of regardless, but with a Braum standing next to her, it is absolutely required. You know, there are a lot of potential CCs that can come up for this Kaisa, and whether you are, you know, in your backline or jumping into their backline, it would be devastating to just get randomly stunned up by all the CC that is available. You know, Gravity Wells there, you know, alongside that. So I do think the cleanse was absolutely necessary for this game. Good decision by Alistar, and will likely help him out, but we might see some mid 2v2 action. Here we go.
Here we go. The first gank of the game is going to go to LZ, but it's countered right here by Rosero, looking for a little bit more damage onto JVL. Flashes, of course, are still available, and JVL uses his nice and early on. LZ is going to force the one out of Rosero, but it does not matter. There's your first blood to Lotus as the 2v2 goes the way of the Sad Mummy and Robot Woman.
Yeah, just well played by LZ, but hold on, we got more action in bottom lane.
More action in bot. This is AD carry versus AD carry. Alistar's looking for the play. The flash forward, and Alistar will be the king of the bot lane as the Kaisarel finds nice 2v2 kills here in the bot lane. Indeed, everywhere Lotus are picking up wins.
Yeah, Lotus striking first in this battle for playoff positioning. It's beautiful stuff from LZ, flashing away at the right time to help out JVL. He gets back in there, picks up the kill, despite Rosero flashing away. And then we talked about it. We set up this bot lane matchup. And really, this time around, it's Kiwiism making the difference. Gets the two-man engage on the Rel, gets the secondary stun with the tether, and that dooms Palm Goat to falling as Alistar follows the flash, picks up that kill, and Lotus throwing it down here early in this battle for those playoff spots.
Looking for the 2v2s everywhere possible. Mid, bot, no matter where, but here's a 2v1. As it's not WYO Boomers going out without a fight. Accelerate's going to have to use his flash to get out of the danger of the Scorpion. So Rosero will be happy with the outcome of that gank. Little unlucky not to get a full-on kill, but Accelerate wise to the tricks here. We'll be able to live for now, but with those 2 kills on the board and one of them being first blood, Lotus have found themselves a 1,500 gold lead nice and early on in this game.
Yeah, they're doing very, very well in their lanes, and in particular, the jungle is a big advantage. LZ got the first blood and is very far ahead in the camps. You saw Rosero making that attempt in top lane while multiple camps are still up. He's on his Gromp now, but he still has 2 camps in bottom side and that Drake up. He's going to want to return to this top lane at some point too to try to punish Accelerate while the flash is down. Of course, Mininar is extremely, extremely squishy. You can burst him out if he doesn't have that summoner available. And they're trying to do it here.
That's a solo kill in the top lane. Count him out. Accelerate is dead. And everywhere has been fighting on Summoner's Rift tonight. Lotus and WYO are neck and neck at each other. Papa Francesco putting down the slicing Maelstrom and cutting Accelerate out of his lane.
Yeah, and that's absolutely huge for WYO Boomers because we mentioned that Rosero wanted to go back up there to punish the flash. Well, hold on here, as there's some positioning. It doesn't look like anything will come. And by Papa Francesco picking up that solo kill, it doesn't require his jungler to come up there anymore. The flash has already been punished. You can go for it again, but now he can posture around the Drake, get his team some tempo, pick up his camps as well. That's a huge turnaround kill for the veteran member, for the captain of this WYO Boomer squad, to keep them in this early game, even as this dragon does fall to Lotus.
And here we go. The steal is on the mark, but not quite for Rosero, as he will go down. The rest of the team going to show up. Birdman here in the front line. A huge Chaos Storm doing so much AoE. This Victor is finding max value. That's a huge curse of the Sad Mummy, as Palm Goat's going to find JVL, and Papa TP'd into the fight. He'll find the second. A 2-for-1 plus dragon. Call it just about even. But these two teams, man, they are not willing to give anything to one another.
Yeah, throwing down in the early game with everything they have. I do have a couple of questions about the setup from WYO Boomers in that initial engage, but I don't have any questions about the execution. Hold on, here's Alistair. His ulti.
Alistair, this is 80 Kingdom from the Kaisa. Talk about your better player. Alistair says, shut up, Palm Goat. I'm simply built different. That is a beautiful killer instinct. Calculators are out. TI-84s are here. He knew exactly how much damage he was going to do. And Alistair puts Palm Goat in his place and will claim the crown for now. Still, a return kill goes forward, to be fair, as WYO will find one on the back end onto Kiwiism. But still, this game is neck and neck. Lotus just have a slight edge picking up the first dragon, but the Rift Herald is on the mark here for Rosero.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, yeah, there's a lot of credit to give over to Alistair there. That was brilliant play from him. And Kiwiism being very clever once again, coming from the deep angle after running away from that Drake fight that they lost, which once again was thanks to Papa Francesco's teleport advantage in top lane. Is he going to pick up another one? Looks like he's just not going to. Accelerate barely makes it out. But as the one thing there was Alistair was level 6. And the challenge from the WYO Boomers bot lane was just too much. I don't know if they thought Kiwiism was gone and they could be safe retreating to their turret, but he was not. And Alistair knew how to punish that, did so very, very effectively, and continues to dominate over this WYO Boomers bottom lane in the early stages of this game. Now 3-0 on that Kaisa, as we can see two very different strong sides of the map coming through for these two teams.
Bot lane as well. There's the Glacial Fissure, but it's just not going to be enough to keep Alistair away from Palm Goat. But the slows will. Palm Goat will deny any further engage. Magnet Storm for Glacial Fissure, is the trade here in the bot lane. No one's blood will be spilled just quite yet. But still keeping it calm, keeping it cool and collected is this Ashe Braum duo, trying to deny any further engages. But here's Rosero. The flash is there. JVL going to try to get himself away. There's the shockwave back onto the Scorpion. Will keep him in mid for now. LZ's desperately running here. But a flash for flash trade is all that they're going to get. And again, these two teams fighting at every possibility. Top lane, Slicing Maelstrom looking for a solo kill. Bot lane, it's Kiwiism going forward with Magnet Storm. And in mid lane, it's Shockwave flashing for flashes here with the Impale. And everyone's trying to get the advantages, and it's just a difference of the two solo lanes and bot lane as well. Man, I'm so excited to see these later game team fights because of how aggressive Lotus and WYO are going at each other. I thought really we'd get a more laid back match, DJ, but these two teams are anything but.
Yeah, there ain't no calm goat down here for WYO Boomers. Everybody is throwing it down across the lanes. And as mentioned, we have two very different strong sides of the map coming through for these two sides. Papa Francesco is very much in the lead despite the CS being in favor of Accelerate at the moment. He is a big threat, and they're trying to remove that threat. There may be a dive happening here. As you can see, LZ hanging around. This wave is going to get thinned down. But Lotus, it's their bottom lane. It's the bottom lane we talked about to set it up. It's the bottom lane that assisted So Feared. Alistair is still 3-0 on this Kaisa, almost 10 CS up, now 10 CS up on his counterpart. And it's taking them everything to just peel away Mr. Kiwism, who has also played the lane so very, very well to set up his AD carry for success. And oh boy, both junglers on opposite sides of the map trying to remove those strong sides. As you mentioned, Necrox, these teams are just going at it. Nobody is letting anyone off with anything. They want to prove that they are the better team here tonight. I am fascinated to see how this works out with this split map situation.
I'm fascinated to see what the plan is for both these two teams, because typically you'd play towards your stronger lanes, but the egos here are just too massive. They say absolutely not.
Oh!
The arrow will miss from Palm Goat. That is a rarity. Someone clip it. Oh no, Rosero's gonna go in the Glacial Fissure onto Kiwism. The stun with the attractor repel is there, but Kiwisem's gonna burn down as Birdman finds the first kill of the fight. But LZ's arrived. There's the Amumu going in. There's the Curse of the Sad Mummy, and Alistair's on a rampage as he finds the enemy jungler. 1-for-1 will be all that transpires. What an aggressive move once again leads to more blood spilled in this bot lane. Call it even again. These two teams are neck and neck, but here we go in the top lane. Papa's looking for once again maybe a solo kill, a hop away from Accelerate. The flash forward, but the flash away will get this Gnar to safety. Very dangerous here in this counter pick matchup, but will be fine as LZ secures a second Drake for Lotus.
Yeah, and Papa, you got to calm down up there, man. I know you're trying to push your lead, but you got to let us talk a little bit, because it wasn't an even trade on the bottom lane, despite the fact that WYO Boomers were able to chase down Kiwism. They lost their jungler with the second Drake up and spawning right at that moment. That's a free Drake for the side of Lotus. They have now 2 in their pockets, and with the Cloud Soul, I believe, spawning on Summoner's Rift here, they are halfway to that soul that will make them so very hard to take down. So even with WYO Boomers fighting back, they lose out in that overall trade due to the map objective, and they really need to get things together here, because again, as we set up around these team fights, it's going to take a little bit of execution for them. They've got a Skarner who's not going to team fight very well unless he can get a brilliant pull to start the fight off, whereas they have for Lotus LZ's Amumu, who is just going to lay down a ton of extra CC and utility for his side. It's not that WYO Boomers can't win the fight, it's just going to be a lot harder for them.
And while we get a little bit of a low state, there's so much to go over, and of course, there is no low state. Rosero's here again. It's going to happen at any moment. The moment Alistair tries to walk up, and that W, the Void Seeker, as Alistair threw his up in emote. He knew. He smelled it. Alistair's wise to the tricks. But what I did want to go over quickly, as maybe we get a low state. Oh my gosh, Accelerate. Stop, man. You're looking real in a state. Need to back up. Please, let me speak. He's going to go Mega. He will be fine for now. But I did want to talk about what this playoff matchup means. Is nope, I don't get to speak. LZ's arriving in the top lane. There's an R ulti in the wall, and Papa will be killed. LZ's finding one, but here we go. The TP's into the bot side as JBL's gonna show up to make this one a little bit dangerous. Rosero's pulling it back with the impale. The shockwave onto 2, but JBL's gonna lose his life into a couple more autos. Flashing forward as Palm Goat as Trinity's arrived with the TP of his own. We'll find JVL. The Orion is now 0-2. They get a kill on top side. They lose one on bot side. Again, DJ, call it even. TP's committed absolutely everywhere, but here goes WYO into Lotus's jungle.
Yeah, unfortunately, once again, it's going to be an advantage for Lotus because their jungler makes the play on the side of the map where there's an objective, but you can see WYO know that they're losing out across the map. They're trying to make something happen here. They're going to go for a push and a dive on this bot lane. This could very well decide the game.
They need to keep this wave in place. Oh, but that TP will not allow it. Now Alistair and Kiwism are in a lot of trouble. You have to get something, but this is almost certainly a double. There it is. Kiwism's gonna go down, but they find a return kill. Kiwism good enough there with the Ignite and the Q to find Rosero on the back end of that play. Maybe a little bit botched from WYO, to be honest. They will lose the trip for it. But meanwhile, it was Accelerate that was pushing top along with LZ, and all this counter jungling now, as LZ has found himself 20 CS up in the jungle.
Yeah, the 20 CS up is going to be very, very nice for LZ. I'm not too worried about it from the perspective of Rosero, who knows his role is really to be sort of a pick bot in this game. It is a bit concerning again for the team fights, but what is more concerning is the overall trade. I think it was Birdman just going a little too early with the Q. He tanked 3 turret shots before his team even engaged, and while he is a Braum with a shield, he's eventually going to have to drop that, and I believe when he drops it, that's why the turret aggro ends up on Rosero, and he does go down. However, I like the play from the Boomers. They know they're losing out on that side of the map. The Rift Herald was going down. They were going to lose the objective once again. They knew they needed to make something extra happen to try to keep this game close, to try to put Alistair down, get that shutdown gold in their pocket, and they are able to do so despite some losses. So while the execution hasn't been perfect, the idea is right, and these two teams continue to battle over every inch on Summoner's Rift.
Man, I'm trying to set up some conversation points here, DJ. I want to talk about the Seekers. I want to talk about the Verdant Barrier. I want to talk about the Last Whisper that Alistair has picked up. But none of it matters because these two teams just keep duking it out at every instance. And with 30 seconds on Soul Point here for Lotus, you can only imagine we're going to get one more fight. Kiwiism in the brush. Sweeper will find it. LZ still here on the front line. As now WYO have a man advantage, they push into the river.
Yeah, this is scary time for WYO Boomers here. We look across the itemization. There's 4 mythic items on the side of Lotus. There's 4 on the side of WYO, so they're very even. But again, I don't know if even is good enough for WYO Boomers against the better CC AoE composition coming out here for the team fighting for Lotus. They're going to need to play this super well to get this done as the Drake does spawn. I like how they're setting up for it. And now Rosero's going in.
Rosero's going to try to go in with a chem tank, but can't quite find a nice pull target. So will lose that cooldown. Couple more volleys over the walls. The blast cone will be denied as well. LZ's still here. He's going to be suppressed. There's a glacial fissure. It denies the entrance point as LZ's shut down. That's a nice cooldown for Rosero to find, but here we go. The fight's going to break out all the same. JVL, Alistair, double kill to this Kaisa. Palm Goat's going to trade one back, but in goes Alistair. The arrow will knock him down for now, but Alistair's not just quite done. He's at 1 HP. The health fruit will keep him alive for now. Palm Goat and Trinity in a 2v3 trying to make something happen here for WYO. JVL is the member here to frontline, but that's not who you want. The health bars are too low for Lotus to be able to commit to this dragon. Will pull away, channel the recalls, and live to fight another day.
What a fight that was, Necrox. The team fighting from both of these teams, top notch as we see a teleport expended here. Trinity going to spot that one out. It's Accelerate coming back. He's still trying to hold the enemy off to keep them from going straight to the Drake so that his team can reset. Half a mana bar still on him. There's no mana on JVL, who is picking up the blue buff. They're just going to go straight back to fighting. We'll have to cover what happened in that first team fight in a couple of minutes here.
Is there any surprise that these two teams are right back where we started about 30 seconds ago? This Dragon Pit looking to scuttle.
JVL has TP. He just went back to base.
Fight. JVL does indeed have the TP, can arrive at any point, has picked up a Verdant Barrier as well, has Leandri's, but the Rift Herald will be summoned. That means priority over to Lotus, but WYO are just going to start with this one up and Accelerate is in Mega. That is a critical cooldown to watch, and a 3-man Gnar ulti will wipe away this WYO squad. A 2-man Shockwave to boot as Lotus, with one swift strike, will take away WYO's shot to taking the dragon. Alistair cleaning up the fight, a double kill to Accelerate, and Lotus will win this one.
Yeah, it wasn't even the perfect Gnar engage because only one member went into the wall on the Mega Gnar ulti, but critically, that member was Palm Goat, and with half of the damage down for WYO Boomers to start the fight, they just had no chance as JVL arrived. All of the AoE CC came down, and the fight was just too easy for Lotus. They clean it up, they pick up the third Drake, and they win out in the extended fights around that Drake there. that is a critical breaking point in this game. They now lead by 5k gold with that Soul Drake in 4.5 minutes, and you saw what the team fight should look like for Lotus, and that is why I wanted to cover the first Drake fight, because that's how it should be set up for WYO Boomers. They got early access to the river. They used the Ash Arrows and the Victor to force Lotus out of the river, to make it tough for them to come in. They were going to have to take chunk damage to come into the river, and that's why that first fight was so close. But in all of the chaos, with all the TPs available for Lotus to set up for that second fight, they didn't quite get the same setup on the side of WYO Boomers. It allowed easy access. It allowed Accelerate to get towards Meganar. And with that transformation, it was just too much for them to come out with a victory. And now they find themselves very far behind in this game, looking into the jaws of a Game 1 defeat.
And we know this team can scale. We know what a late game Victor and Kennen can do to a team with all that AoE electric damage pouring through onto these frontline members. But it's a question of how late can you push it. Dragon is up in 3.5 minutes. This could be Cloud Soul to a Rel, a Kaisa, an Orianna, and a Gnar all the same. That would be devastating to give away. You have to be able to either deny this or trade critical objectives across the board if you are WYO Boomers. But this posturing from Lotus is so aggressive and so decisive. They take away red buff, they take away blue buff, they will take away absolutely everything that they can from WYO as they knock down bot tier 1.
Yep, bot tier 1 going to go down. WYO Boomers hovering around the Baron right now. They are just going to start it up. JVL does not have TP. Trinity does. This is the call for WYO Boomers to try to turn it around. They have been spotted out. TP's out from Trinity. They may just be forced to back. Are they going to fight?
That is the worst case scenario, DJ. They were trying to get either a TP or just to finish Baron from Lotus, but no one had TP to respond. Everyone is just there in time. And instead, because they're scared that they're going to get engaged on, they have to use their own mid lane TP to try to reinforce the team. So they're the ones to lose out on that cooldown. And now they don't have the ability to put Victor in a side lane. Arrow from Palm Goat again will miss, but here comes Rosero with the Impale available, and this member had not paid your taxes. Alistair is going to be shut down, and that is a nice stimulus check. The shockwave won't move anyone, but it does a lot of damage. Looked a little odd, but here we go. The volley is going to go through, but not anything just quite yet as everyone's pulling away. That is a nice shutdown to grab, though. Alistair had not paid his taxes.
Yeah, what a devastating loss there. I'm a little surprised, WYO Boomers. They should probably just reset and try to establish Baron control once again. Maybe the kill cooldown is just not quite long enough. But as we mentioned so many times tonight, Necrox, it hasn't been that bad because the game between Bucky's and New Age was so far out of proportion already. But come on, Alistair. I know you watch pro. I have been in LCS watch party lobbies with you. I know you've seen Zanzara's video. How are you on 3 items in a Skarner game without a QSS? It is inexcusable for an AD carry of his quality, and he gets punished for it in this moment. Fortunately for him, the Soul Drake is not up yet, coming up in a minute. Not enough on the kill cooldown to get Baron, so he's not fully punishing his team for this, and they will be able to team fight over the critical objectives, but he still does not have that item.
Whether it's the pressure or the moment, whether it's greed, I'm not sure, but no QSS. That is just not where you want to be at this point in the game. Yeah, Rosero has no flash, so if Alistair plays this one correctly, he should be able to kite it back and get away from the Skarner, especially with Appeal and Amumu. Orianna, Gnar, and Rel all can provide. But with that being said, Accelerate is caught out here. Slows will not tag, but into Mega he goes a little bit early on to the fight. LZ maybe looking, Accelerate looking as well, but Lotus not pulling the trigger.
Yeah, they spotted Papa Francesco on the flank. I like his approach and positioning. He does have TP if he wants to try to reposition.
Oh no! Kiwiism. That's so greedy, but LZ's in the middle of a couple members, but the
only on one!
Only finds one, has to flash over the wall. Rosero, no impale. Here you go. The slicing maelstrom on a couple of members as LZ's gone back in. Rosero's gonna go down. It's a 1-for-1 trade as Kiwiism's gonna go. LZ's the next one to fall, but Alistair flying into the back line with the killer ring.
He's isolated!
He's gonna be slowed up. There's no way away. The flash, the clip. lanes and cannot get you to safety. Alistair will fall. Trinity's on a killing spree as the AD carry here for Lotus has been cut down and shut down as Trinity, Palm Goat, and Birdman are all here available. JVL no shockwave and Accelerate trying to hop into Mega. Birdman's gonna go down to the Dragon if he's not careful, and JVL's found himself in a killing spree. Accelerate
Missed the ulti.
misses the ulti, and that's the Dragon secured. JVL could not help his top laner secure that critical objective, and with that, it is finally WYO that buy themselves a little more time, but JVL doesn't have any time left in his pocket as a shutdown is handed over to Palm Goat. Indeed, a nice couple paychecks handed their way to WYO Boomers in the fight, but critically, Cloud Soul not claimed.
Yeah, such good play from WYO Boomers there, just patiently approaching, and huge opportunity for LZ to just straight up win the game as they engaged onto Kiwiism. He was able to escape, stay alive with the rail shielding on the remount. LZ just walked in behind the entire team. He was looking for the perfect 5-man Amumu Curse of the Sad Mummy, and in the end, he only got one member. Necrox completely whiffs on the ulti, and they're just going to kill Papa Francesco here. This is
repel,
a little
crash
unfortunate.
down. Easy stuff there for Kiwiism. Sadly, the gold gonna go to the support, but feels good to get that pick at this moment. QSS is available for Alistair. Not sure if Rosero had pressed tab and checked that one yet, but oh no. Oh, no. That is not what you want to be doing, my friend. Is now Lotus are going to turn the tides of this fight. Deep
TP
this is bad. Actually going to go through.
They're all
That's
dead.
a nice shockwave on the 3 members, and Lotus will find them all. It's a 5-man wipe for Lotus. Again, a critical mistake from WYO Boomers will cost them the fight and will now cost them the Baron.
Yeah, and it's likely just going to cost them the game, Necrox. They completely brain fart there, completely forgetting about JVL's teleport cooldown timer. They walk into top lane where there's still a turret. I don't know if they thought there was no turret. I don't know if they thought they could get something done, but Rosero had no flash. Papa Francesco was already dead. The teleport was up for JVL, and they just fumble all over themselves. Rosero dies instantly. It's an easy TP in behind, and if you get flanked by a team fighting composition like this, you are absolutely all dead the moment that TP comes through. That's exactly what happens. It's a beautiful cleanup from Lotus. They pick up the Baron, and they reestablish complete control over this game after a couple of minutes in which it looked like WYO Boomers might just be able to fight their way out of it.
Accelerate, that's not where you want to be, my friend. Will go down here, trying to stride break actually gets the red buff, but of course, you don't get to keep it post-mortem, so Trinity will be able to claim that one for now. Red buff not gonna do too much work.
He's pinging it. He's pinging it.
The gold
He's pinging it in chat.
Yeah, he's real happy about it. At least he got the red, but with the Baron minions here, Lotus should be able to hold on to at least their tier 2, if not their tier 1. I was gonna say that everyone was calling me delusional for thinking Alistair was the best AD carry in the league. I'm telling you, when this guy arrives, there is nothing like it. LZ is arriving onto the back line along with Kiwiism, and of course it's Alistair to go on a killing spree. And look at that point. It doesn't get any better. A triple kill for Alistair. This man is the best AD carry Excellency's ever seen.
Alistair throwing it down here in mid lane. The snipe on the Void Seeker guarantees Palm Goat's death in the follow-up to LZ's excellent engage. The Ash Arrow goes wide for the 3rd time this game, mind you, and that will likely spell the death knell here for the side of WYO Boomers. It's still 17 seconds on the respawn timers. They could push for more, but Lotus just going to play this one safe. They're going to rotate back to bottom lane where Accelerate has already prepped this wave. They will look for the second turret as everyone just going to recall instead. Get prepped for that Soul Drake spawning in a minute.
And critically, look at the taxes now that have been paid. 2 members have submitted their tickets to the IRS. It is Kiwiism and Alistair, the bot laners here. Duo in tandem doing their due diligence, getting the QSSs online. So that's going to be a little bit of safety mount too few of these members, but still, Rosero has the flash, could grab JVL and turn this fight around. And again, if this is a good win for WYO, this could be a game-turning fight, taking away the Baron off of Lotus. But here we go. Everyone in Summoner's Rift wants a way into this pit.
Yeah, everybody does. It's an interesting approach here from WYO Boomers. This is a huge mistake. You can't just leave mid lane when there's super minions running down mid. This is a huge error. They're going to have to recall here, but already the damage being done is Lotus just going to run into the enemy base, and now all they have to do is just fall back to the Drake. You can see the split call coming in from WYO Boomers. A couple have already gone back, a couple have stayed on Drake, but you can't be split up against a team fighting comp like this. This could be disaster.
This was dangerous strides here for Lotus. They tried to push down mid, get a couple recalls, but 3 members
The supers
never
are on
left.
the Nexus
But
turrets.
the Dragon, it's here, and it's Alistair that gets it. Of course he does. A one-man Nor ulti will only throw 1 member back, but here's on the front side of the fight as Accelerate's gonna find Palm Goat. Alistair gets another one. He's dominating on the Kaisa. The Chaos Storm will tick down, but it's just not enough for WYO, and it's Accelerate that Goomba stomps their way over WYO Boomers. Get the hell out of town, as Lotus are your kings of game number 1. They'll march it down mid lane, and in just over 31 minutes, they'll take the Nexus.
Yep, Lotus going to take game 1 in this series. They will take the advantage and the advantage in the playoff seeding race here against the WYO Boomers. It was close as all get out for the first 20 minutes or so. Teams trading back and forth, but a big error around the top lane breaks it open for Lotus. They take it home in 32 minutes.
A critical win now for Lotus as they push for higher playoff seeding. WYO Boomers still have a shot to even out this set.